Hi, my name is Matthew Steinberg, Director of Brewing Operations for Mayflower Brewing Co. here in Plymouth. We're in the mill room here. This is our grain mill, and this is all our malts that we use to make our beers. Basically, we mill the grain, and it goes up the auger. And the auger goes right to the top of the brew house there where the grist case is. And we load all that grain in, and we blend hot water into our mash tun with our milled malt, and that's our mash. And we're making a sweet wort, which is we're gonna then separate from that spent grain. The spent grain then goes to a farmer that we put right out the loading dock, and he feeds his dairy cows with that spent grain. We run off the sweet wort into the wort kettle, and that's where we then boil the hops. And we add hops throughout the boil, depending on the beer we're making for both aroma and bitterness, as well as flavor. We'll then send the boiled wort into it's getting loud into the fermenters, and we'll go take a peek at the fermenters now. So now that we've boiled the wort and we've added lots of hops and made the wort nice and bitter to balance that sweetness, we then want to pitch yeast. So we bring the cooled wort into the fermenter. And we then add oxygen actually through an aerating stone into the sweet wort, and that's where we add the hops, and we're going to harvest our yeast. I'm sorry, that's where we add the yeast, and we actually harvest the yeast off of a previous batch. We have basically right now we have one house yeast that we're using. We're going to expand that to 2 pretty soon. It's an English strain that we developed with a yeast bank that we thought would fit the profile of the beers we were trying to make. We do have some active fermentation going on right now, as you can see from the bubbling in the bucket there. This is actually a batch of IPA that we made just 2 days ago. So we do have the 4 fermenters, one basically for each beer: golden, pale, porter, and IPA. We then, once the fermentation is complete, we've conditioned the beer to its perfect moment ready for drinking. We do cool the beer down to about 31 degrees, and then we send it through the filter press, which is a DE filter, diatomaceous earth filter, and we filter it from the fermenter into the bright tank, which is this tank right behind there, and that's where we then carbonate the beer in place. And we carbonate, depending on the beer, up to a volume typically of anywhere between 2.2 volumes of CO2 or 2.5 volumes of CO2, depending whether it's draft or bottles, and also beer dependent. Porter tends to have a little bit less than, say, the pale ale. And once the beer is cold and carbonated and filtered in the bright tank, that's when we go over to packaging, and we're going to take a walk over to the packaging department now. Now we're in the packaging bay, and as you can see behind me, there's lots of cardboard. And there's a couple of kegs over there. Most of our kegs are full, and we'll go take a peek of those in the cooler in a minute. But this is our kegging machine. It's an IDD. They're out of Moorpark, California. Wonderful machine. It's semi-automatic, which means basically we tap the keg to clean it, we untap it, tap it to fill it, and we can do about 25 kegs an hour on this machine, which is perfectly adequate for us. It'll take us several years to grow out of this, probably 3 to 4 years, and we'll probably want to upgrade to a machine that has a little bit more capacity. Our bottling machine actually just arrived on Monday, which is a really exciting day for us. It's going to take us the next couple of weeks to put it together. It's mostly put together, but we got our plumbers and our electricians and our mechanical guys here helping me wire this thing up and plumb it. We're going to make our way over to the cooler now. So this is our beer cooler. It's a nice big beer cooler, and it's full of kegs. And you notice there's no bottles because the bottle machine, as you already know, is not ready for production yet. But this is all the kegs we've got full right now. We've got pale ale, porter, golden ale, and IPA. You notice there's not a lot of IPA over there, but don't worry because we're filtering that beer on Monday and we'll have plenty of it. This is our hops. This is about 6 months worth of hops right here. The hop situation is dire in the industry, but we're actually pretty satisfied where we are right now with our hops. So we're one of the lucky breweries that contracted in advance. Well, you've seen how we produce the beer, and this is how we pour the beer.
if you're a person, cool person. Like if you're a person where we go and people talk to, and not, we started
Labor of love.
when we first, like the first day we went on site, it was awful. Like we walked in, you know.